Hello friends, welcome to Coding Jackpot. So in this video, we're gonna create the CRUD operation where if I want to add the name of student, the name is Omkar. Click on save. Then the name is added as Omkar. If you want to edit the name, then you type Krishna and click on update. Then the name is also updated successfully. And if you want to delete this name, then simply you can delete this by just click on this tick option. And that's what the project is all about. So we start with our project. In backend, I'm using latest version of .NET 9. In database, I'm using SQL Server Management Studio. And in front end, I'm using Angular 17. The folder as CRUD. And now right click and go to Open with Visual Studio. And in File, go to New Project. Create a new project as ASP.NET Core Web API. And name of project is CRUD. And here is the location of your CRUD. Click on Next. And the framework is .NET 9 Standard Term Support. Click on Create. So here is the interface of CRUD. So what we are do first, that is we are installing the packages in these dependencies. 4 packages, that is Swagger UI for Swagger, then Microsoft Entity Framework for SQL Server for database, then Microsoft Entity Framework for tools, and at the end Microsoft Entity Framework Core. These 4 packages we required. Then we create our database in SQL Server Management Studio, and after that we provide the connection here in app setting.json file, and after providing the connection, we just do database core first approach, and after that we migrate our data here, and we provide controller for our API and provide services in builder.service in program.cs file. That's what we do now. Okay, so first in packages, uh, right click and go to manage new packages. In browse, as I mentioned, select Swagger UI. Here is Swagger ASP.NET Core Swagger UI. Click on install. Apply and accept. Okay, Swagger ASP.NET Swagger UI is installed. Then go to Entity Framework. Here is Microsoft Entity Framework Core. Click on it and install. Then tools, Entity Framework Core tools. Click on install. Apply and I accept. Okay, everything is done, I think. Yes. There is one more, SQL Server. Here is Microsoft Entity Framework Core SQL Server, and install that. Apply. Okay, our packages were installed. Now here in properties in launch setting, the launch browser is false. We have to do it as true. Why? Because the Swagger is not available as default in .NET 9. So because of that, we have to do changes here. And after doing this, if we hit this HTTP request, it just go to Swagger. But for that, in program.cs file, we have to provide the path of Swagger. Then simply here I'm providing the path. Here is the path of Swagger, and the name is CRUD API. Okay, save that. And now if you just hit this request, but for that we need a controller. So first we have to go to SQL Server Management Studio and create our database. So what I'm doing, first I'm creating the database, then inside that I'm creating table, and in table I'm providing table as student table uh, for our CRUD operation. So connect this, and here in databases, right click and new database. The name of database is connection. Click on OK, and again right click and create new query. And here is my query. I already mentioned I'm creating a table that is student, and here is ID of student, and it is primary key, and then I'm provided a name, and we get 255. Then execute this table. The table is executed successfully. Now you have to go to Microsoft here in Visual Studio, and in app setting rotation file, I have to provide the connection of our database. So here I am providing the connection. As you see the connection string in default connection, here is the server name you get from here in this SQL Server Manager Studio. Disconnect the SQL Server Manager Studio, and once you connect this, here the server name is available. You have to copy the server name uh, and then paste it here in server. And after that, here in database, I provided a name as connection, as we already know our database name. And we have to provide the certificate of our project, that is trusted connection is true, trust server certificate is true, and multiple activity results true. Okay, so default connection in app setting is done. So save this, and now as I already told you, we have to do scaffolding, means we are doing database approach. That's why we have to do scaffolding here in package manager console. For that, you have to go to tools. In here, you get package manager. There is package manager console is available. So if there is no package manager here in this table, so you get here from this new manager packages. Okay. So here I am providing our scaffolding. Here I provided the scaffolding, and the server name is what I provided. Then the database name, that is connection, and the certification what we require, that I provided here. So simply run this scaffold command. We start building our scaffolding with. Oh, I forget to read this weather forecast. Just a minute, once we finish with our scaffolding, then we read this weather forecast, and yeah. Yes, it is saying that this desktop keyword is not supporting. I think I provided a wrong connection. Just a minute, I just have to check. So let me check again. Hope so it build the project. Okay, the build is succeed. What happened is that I provided this wrong server name. That's why the error is occurred. So be aware that you provide correct the server connection. Otherwise, you're not able to migrate your data. So here the student ID and name is present, and this connection context is automatically generated by scaffolding. And now we have to create our controller. Let me delete this weather forecast. Yeah, and from here as well, delete this weather forecast. Okay. So here in controllers, I have to provide one controller. But before that, I have to provide a model DB folder. Right click and add new folder. And name of folder is model DB. And here I'm creating the class. And new class. Name of class is student model. We can add. And from this DB model, the student, we have to copy this public student ID and name and just paste here in student model. So you have to understand that how the flow is going. What we did first, we provided the packages, and after that we just go to this SQL Server My Studio and created our database. And after that, in app settings, we provided that connection, and then we done the scaffolding database first approach, and then after that we created this model DB folder, and in that we just created this service, that student model, sorry, this class, student model class. And now we are creating controller, that is API controller. Add new controller, and the controller is API. I'm selecting this API control empty. We create the API from scratch. Click on add, name it as API controller. Hit enter, and here I'm providing our database. Sorry, here I'm providing dependency injection first, and then all our action method, that is get method, put method, update method, and delete method, all action methods. Okay, here I'm providing the dependency injection, and here we have to mention our connection context. So I don't know why it is showing the error. So right click and copy the name of our context and paste this here. Okay, I think we have to go to in using CRUD DB model. Okay, so we have to mention that which service we are providing. Here we are using Microsoft .NET Core as we have in packages, and also using this DB model. Now we have to provide our action methods. Here I created the action method. First I created this get method, wherein I actioned result there is get student. Now Second is the post method. Here in post method, as you see the ID and name. Uh, this is here in the try block. In this is catch block. This is exceptional. Means if any ID is not able to hit here in try block, then it is passes to a catch block. Then it throws. The post method is like this. Then now we are heading to patch. Means update. Here in update, here also we provided the ID, and inside we have if condition. If the student is not found, then it returns as student not found. And we have to provide name of the student. Here is the delete method. In this, I using this ID of the student, and same I have to give the if statement where if student is not found, then it returns the student not found as false, and if student gets deleted, then it save changes and return as okay. So this is the delete method. So all methods of CRUD operations were done. We done with our controller. Now in this program.cs file, we have to provide the builder services, that is the service of our connection context. So simply using this CRUD DB model. Okay. Now save this, and now I am going to run this project. It start building our project. The window is blank. Why? Because the Swagger is not default in .NET 9. So we have to provide the connection, that is slash Swagger. Boom. The new window is open of Swagger, and this get method, post method, patch method, and delete method of API is complete. But we have to check whether these methods were working or not. So in post method, I'm posting the name. We have to try first. I'm giving the name as Krishna. Click on execute. Okay, the 200 response. The name is successfully saved in post method. Then in fetch method, simply try the patch method. And here in ID section, the first ID is given, and I'm changing from Krista to Ram. Execute it. Okay, the student update successfully. So this patch method means update method also working very well. Now we have to try get method. Try it out and execute. We're simply executing. Why? Because we only need our student. So look here, the student name as Ram is available. So get method is also working very well. So same we have to do with delete method. And in delete method, we have to delete the ID. So simply try it out and add this first student name and execute. Okay, the response is true, means the student is deleted. So let me check and clear this and again execute this get method. Hopefully it is blank. Yes. The response is blank, means our get method is showing that our student is deleted permanently. Okay, so our API part is done and it is working very well. So we are heading towards Angular part. So here in our CRUD folder, we are creating project for Angular. So in search bar, type CMD. Remember that I installed everything of Angular with Node.js. That's why this interface is comes. But if you not installed Angular, then you have to install first. So in this C drive, I created this CRUD operation, and now just type ng new, and name of project is interface. Hit enter. So it asks which style sheet format would you like to use. I'm using CSS. And do you want to enable service side routing? Yes, I want. Then you start installing the packages. Okay, the packages were installed successfully. So minimize the CMD, and here is the folder, that is interface. Right click and open this in Visual Studio. VS Code, sorry. This SRC folder is important because what we do in our project is here in this SRC. This app folder is default where the CSS, HTML, TS file and route file is present. After this app folder, uh, we have to create our own folder, that is first is service and second one is components. First we create the service, right click, go to open in integrated terminal. So it provide you a terminal, and here I am creating the service ng generate service, that is API service. Just type API. Just a minute. API service. With ask them some permissions. I will give it the permission. The service is created here in the foot. In component, we provide a component that is student component. ng generate component student. Why student? As you know that we created a table for student and the student name. That's why we created the name as student. So hit enter. We add one more component, that is ng generate sidebar. And hit enter. Sorry. ng generate component, I say sidebar. Okay, so sidebar component is also generated. Now go to API service. Here in API service, I am importing required things. Why the API service is important? Because we connect with our data Swagger. First, we import the required things in import section of API service. Why we are using this service? Because we have to connect with our API, that is Swagger, and here we have to provide the private URL. Go to Swagger and Here you can see the path of our server. So copy this path and paste it here in service. The private URL, that is http localhost 7080/API. This 7080 is of private URL. In a constructor, we have to provide constructor, that is HTTP client. Here is the constructor, that is private HTTP client. And now I'm creating add student method for the service. Providing the method for service. First I created this add method, then get student method, then update student method, and last one is delete student method. This HTTP client is hit to the HTTP request, and then this HTTP client request is passed to this observable. This observable returns the result, and then this application slash JSON, which is available here in the Swagger, is provided here, and then it returns to the HTTP post, which provide any type of ID. Then it returns API URL, means API slash add student. As you can see in Swagger, this API slash get student, API slash add student, add student, all the paths what we required for get method, post method, patch method, and delete method, all are we added here in this section. Same with get method and update method, and here in the delete method. The change is we just have to change the request type, that is delete, and here is update, here is get method, and here is post method. So depending on the method, either the return type is changed. That's what here in the service. Now we are heading to components. So in components, we have to go to student component.ts file, and here we have to create our TypeScript for student. First I am creating ng-on-init method in export section. This ng-on-init is used for initialization of all the tasks. First task is to add student. Our first task is to add a student, where we adding the ID of the student and name of the student. And then there is the service, that is add student service, and we already given this cat JSON. In cat JSON we provided ID and name of the student, and then in subscribe it alerts that res dot to string, where we get this dot get student. And then here in get method we have the service of get student, and in student array what we have, in student array we have ID of student and name of the student. Then in data, this dot student array equals data, means it just take the data of the student from student array, and if there is no data is found, then it shows error. Then in edit method we have data item, what for student ID and the name of the student. After that we have update student. In update student we have to update the name of student. For updating that we need a ID of the student. Once the student get updated, it shows the alert of student get updated. And after that we have delete method, where we delete the ID of the student. Then all these were deleted successfully. That's why we shows the response that student deleted successfully. If any type of error is occurred, then it shows error while deleting the student. Okay, and this option selected. Why? Because we have to delete all the events. That's why we provided this event, what any event, where we have targeted value and option selected. So again, look here. First we do ng on init, then add student. Second is get student. Third is edit student. Fourth is update student, and then delete the student. Okay, this student component.ts part is done. From this student component.ts file, we move towards student component.html file, and here I'm providing the HTML of student. Here is complete HTML of student. Here is head tag, s2 tag, that is student headline. Then in import we have ID, name, placeholder, and in ng model we have name of the student, and that what we need to save here in button. And this click action method is provided for add student to save the student. Then next button is update button. If you want to change the name of the student, so we have to update that. That's why we have to use this ng if statement and select the student ID here to update the student. That's why provided this student method in this button. Then we move to the table of our student, and we have number, then name of the student, this edit method and delete method. And why we use this ng for, that's what your question is. We have imported this in student component.ts file. Here you can see ng for this loop the data, that is student ID and name, by using data item of student array. The student array is this. The student array is a text and which is having ID and name of student. You start looping, and whatever data came from save button is hit here in the table, and then it add our name of the student. Then there is edit button, and last one is delete button. That's what all this HTML about. Just look over all this HTML. First we provide heading, then input, then add button, then update button, then this table. In table we have ng for student ID, name, then there is edit button for student and delete button for student. Hope you understand this HTML of student. From here I move towards CSS of student, and here is some basic CSS of student component. We just go through here the body, wrapper, panel, everything is given, padding, border, radius, box shadow, margin of button, then font sizes, then width, padding, border, radius of border, margin of button. For save button, the background of button, the radius, the hover of button, the table width, table border, table top margin, then padding, then background color, the different buttons for edit button, delete button, we have to have different colors and shape, all be provided here in this CSS file of student. Just look over all this CSS of student component. Okay, our HTML is done, CSS is done, TypeScript file is done, the API service file is done. Now we have to provide the routes. But before route, as you know, here in TypeScript file, we have this, sorry, in services, we have this HTTP client. Okay, but we not imported this in our apps. So first we have to go to appconfig.ps file, and here we have to provide HTTP client. Okay, I imported this provide HTTP client. Why? Because it requires to hit our API, otherwise it not show our front end properly. Then we have to go here in routes, and we have to provide the route of our component. Component first, student is default as I provided. I just added this sidebar path. We not work on it, but right now I am deleting this sidebar. We add later on and import this student component. Okay, we imported the student component. Simply save this API service, save this config.ts file. I forget to save all these paths. Save this HTML file. I think so we have covered everything, this CSS file as well. So we have to check our front end. ng no, here you see the path is different. We directly moving to components. So first right click on src and open in integrated terminal, and just now let's check whether our front end is working fine. Yeah, it launched. Localhost 4200. I forgot to do one thing. As you see, the default Angular HTML CSS is here, so we not required that. And yes, our student um, interface is also visible here, but we have to delete this Angular part. So in apps, app component.html, it is, and here in HTML, app component.html, I deleted default HTML and just added this router outlet. Now let me check whether this working properly or not. I'm going again in Gutenberg terminal and again doing ng serve and hopes. Yes, everything is working fine. Let me check. Redmi is back, and here is showing that the same origin policy disallow remote resource. I think there is problem of course policy. See, I not added a course policy here. Means when I'm explaining all the code, that time I just added this um, builder.service, that's all, and this swagger path, but we not allow our course policy. You also have to implement this course policy, otherwise you're not able to fetch your data properly. So add this course policy and this course policy. Okay. And one more thing, the all origins is we are using localhost 4200. That's why I just added that. You also have to add that. Hmm. Just stop debugging and save this. And second thing is in the service file api.service in private URL, as you can see the path, but we not provide the closure of this API. Why? See this in this add student. In return, what we do, we did this API plus API slash add student. It is not extra slash is there. We have to close the path. That's why we need to add the slash here as well. That one thing is also I forget to do. So you also be aware that every time you do any type of project, you must be provide perfect path. Otherwise, not able to connect with your uh, API. And we just have this student where we can add the student. So first we add the student name, that is Sham. Click on save. The alert is here. Click on OK, and the Sham is added. Again, we put RAM. Working fine. Mahadev. See, everything is working fine. And let me just check that whether the edit button is working fine. Yes, here is, you can see the update command is generated. So here I'm typing Ganesh. Click on update. Student updated. Okay. And as you can see, the Ganesh is updated instead of Mahadev. And let me try debug option. And something is error. Oh, some error is there. Let me check in console. Bad request. Oh, okay. Yeah. Here in HTML, we not added the student ID. Save again and go back to this file and try it again with that method. Yes, this delete option is also working fine. Yeah, all methods are working perfectly. Now I want to add some extra features. Means I have want to add a sidebar here, and at the top we need admin, and at this right side we need login logout option. Okay. So in as you already know, I created this component sidebar. So in this sidebar, in sidebar component.html, I'm just adding this HTML. At the top, I already mentioned I need admin in H1 tag. Then at right hand side, we need login and logout. Then as the sidebar part, we have home and student, these two options. So this HTML is done. Click on save. Then I am adding CSS part as well. I'm not explaining this much in deep. We just go through this header part, and the header now, then the sidebar part. then for login logout option and the buttons, everything I provided here in this CSS file. You can save, but main thing is once we go to our front end, we not see our sidebar. Why? Because here in this app component.html, we just provided a router outlet, and in our route, what we have, we just have student in default. Means the path is redirected to student. Means every time we hit our project, then it directly go to the student. But we also want our sidebar part as well in our front end side. So for that, now go to app component.ts file, and here in export class, the constructor part. Here I just use this constructor part of router, where we have to add this sidebar with our student component. So once the student component hit in front end, then with that, this sidebar is also taking place. So that's why I added this should show sidebar. And now here in import section, we have to import our route. Simply import this route. The error is gone. Here in app component.html, we have to implement that route. I'm just implementing the route here in app component.html, but in app.routes we not implemented, so we have to implement the same in app routes. I'm just adding sidebar component here. Sidebar component, I think so we done meet everything. Let me go to, okay, ngif is not added here in app component.ts file, so we also have to add this ngif. Let me add the ngif, and this import we have to import in this component import section. Let me save this, go back again here in, and but same the navigation not yet be done. Let me delete or and again paste it here. Still showing some problem. Why? I think I have to import the sidebar as well. So import sidebar component here. Copy that and also paste here. Now the error is gone here from app component.html, and our sidebar also connected with our student. Let me check everything is available here. Okay, save it all and go to front end again. Now you can, yes, the sidebar is also implemented here. Everything is looking very good. So that's what the project is all about. I hope you like this project. You like, then like, share and subscribe, and share with your friends who require this CRUD operation. Thank you so much for watching.